The offense returns in a big way as the Cardinals show their no-quit attitude once again in a comeback victory in Baltimore, and it all started with the guy at the top of the order.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. The podcast is on X as well at LO_Cardinals. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on anything new that we post. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. After what appeared to be a jet lag type of day on Monday where the Cardinals looked a little bit tired, looked a little bit exhausted, didn't look like the team that we've seen more times than not throughout the season, the offense woke up in a big way on Tuesday night by pounding out 14 hits and beating the Baltimore Orioles by a score of 7-4. Your player of the game in this one, pretty darn easy, Lars Nootbaar. Lars Nootbaar was a monster. 3 for 4, 2-run home runs, scored twice. He added a walk, and Lars had been struggling recently. He had been for a little bit now. Nothing like, he has been like weeks and weeks on end. But over the last, 7-8 games, it had some people wondering whether or not maybe we should bat somebody else at leadoff for a little bit, which is crazy talk to me. I know we want instant everything in this world, instant coffee, instant deliveries, instant access. Baseball is not that way. Baseball is a patient game. It's a long season. It's a grind, and you have to get through the peaks and valleys for every player. Not just rookies, not just guys in their second or third year, but even the veterans. Look at Wilson Contreras. We had to go through that real big, long lull at the beginning of the season, and then he came out looking so much better. Last 8 games for Lars Nootbaar is very much like that. Hitting 125, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, which is very weird, right? 1 walk? Lars Nootbaar? Who? In 8 games? What? But 1 bad week doesn't mean you drop the dude that has been your spark plug all season and start moving him around in the order, especially when you're still winning most of your games. Up until this cold 8 games, he was hitting 260 with 7 home runs and OBP of 374. You got to ride with these guys. These are your main dudes. You don't see other people moving their main guys around just because they have a bad week. So there he was, again, at the top of the order where he belongs, starting the game with a leadoff single to get the boys rolling in the first inning. And I've said it on many occasions. Everydayers know this, that this whole offense, when Lars Nootbaar is going, this offense is going. Now, there's going to be days where he doesn't, and the offense comes through without him. But when you see these big games, when they're putting up multiple hits in a game and scoring 5, 6, 7 runs, usually because Noot's doing something. And there he was. First at bat, base hit up the middle. Ends up coming around to score. Comes up in the second inning. 1 on, 1 out. Catches a cutter up in the zone, muscles it out to right center field for a 2-run shot to make it 3-0. Here he is doing the bird. I had that up there for a little bit earlier, but there he is, flapping his wings, coming around third base after the home run. Makes 3-0. I honestly didn't think it was going to make it out. When it first happened, as soon as he hit it, I was like, oh, it's probably going to die on the track just because, damp conditions in Baltimore. I thought it was going to knock it down, but apparently I underestimated the power of the Noot. That's my bad. So 2 at-bats, 2 runs scored, 2 ribbies, not too shabby. Struck out in a 6-pitch at-bat his next time up in the 4th, but in the 7th inning, there he is, right in the thick of things once again. Cardinals are down 4-3 at this point. Victor Scott gets the leadoff walk. And then Noot singles to left center. Victor burns all the way around to third base. And Noot got a little too aggressive here. Tries to take second base thinking that the throw would come from Dylan freaking Carlson in left field, and then he would send it all the way to third base, and that, he would just kind of sneak into second. No big deal. It didn't happen that way, though, and they catch him easily coming into second base. Now, if he makes it, we are like praising him, like, oh my gosh, what amazing base running. And when he's out, you're like, damn you, Newt, what are you doing? Which is just part of baseball. This team has been able to steal bases like that on throws like that throughout the season. And it's not surprising that they tried to do it there. But, at least in this situation, it's not the final out. Victor is at third with less than 2 outs. Got a chance to bring him in. Mason Wynn picks Newt up because that's what good teammates do. They like each other. With an RBI flare in the left field, we have a tie ball game once again. In Newt's final at bat, he comes up in the tail end of that big 8th inning for the Cardinals, who got a solo dinger for Nolan Arenado. Back-to-back triples from Nolan, Gorman, and Jordan Walker to take a 6-4 lead. Mason Wynn singles in the final run. And that's where this one ended by a score of 7-4. The offense as a whole, Newt, obviously a huge game. Mason Wynn goes 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Ivan Herrera, kind of another quiet night. He was only 1 for 5. He struck out twice. I noticed that they're throwing a lot of sinkers low and in on him. And so this is something that he'll have to adjust to. They've stopped throwing it away from him. They're trying to bust him in all the time now. And Herrera is going to have to be able to adjust to that. That was at least what I saw in this one. Contreras 1 for 5 with that RBI in the first inning. Alec Burleson 2 for 5. Loved the soft line drive, base hit to left for a single in the first inning. Just great bat control. Lefties normally just love to pull and just yank it, down the right field line. And he just took it the other way. Nice and easy. No big deal. Wasn't trying to do too much. Just trying to put it out there into the outfield. Just a great piece fitting right there. Burley's been really good lately. Nolan Arenado 2 for 5 with a go-ahead home run. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Gorman 1 for 4, gets his first career triple, which was great. Walker 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. We're going to talk about a couple of their bats here in just a bit. Victor Scott, the only guy in the lineup that did not have a hit, but he did have that key walk to get things going in the 7th inning to tie the game up. So overall, just a monster day for the offense. Again, 7 runs, 14 hits. That'll do. That's doing some work right there. But I do want to circle back to what happened in the first inning. Cardinals had a chance to really pile on early. And also, I want to go back to the Gorman and Walker at bats in the 6th inning. It's another spot that they didn't capitalize on. And these are big at bats in this game that, these are big moments where the game can shift. And the Cardinals weren't able to capitalize in these situations. And these at bats, those 3 were the ones that had fans and myself going nuts online about with people on X talking about the game. So we're going to talk about these at bats coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information that's going to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, and it's going to get delivered to you fast, coast to coast, so wherever you are in the U.S., Supply House is going to get it to you. And if you need help with an order, heaven forbid, something were to go wrong, these people are human. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. In fact, you'll get to talk to a real human being. You get to talk to a real person if you need any help with anything. And for trade pros and you're looking for that extra edge, and why wouldn't you be? Their free Trade Master program, it offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, if you use the promo code SH5, you get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. I promise you, we're going to do a fan feedback episode probably this week. We're probably going to finally have some time. They're supposed to have a day off on Thursday. Some rain in the forecast in Baltimore on Wednesday. So there's probably going to be some scheduling changes. But I want to get to one because I want to get your guys' thoughts out there into the Twitterverse and into Cardinal Nation. I want your voices to be heard, and we'll discuss some things that are going on with the Redbirds and, your thoughts and what's going on with you. So, so be sure to write some stuff, okay? And I don't want to sound like I'm being too picky here, because I don't think I am. But, it's part of the ball game. There's 9 innings. There's a lot to dissect when this goes down. And then when you look back at a game, there are a few key moments where you're like, yay, Cardinals did a lot of cool stuff. And then there's moments where you're like, what about here? And I'm not expecting everybody to be perfect, but these are the things we talk about, right? That's why you're Locked On Cardinals. So let's go back to the first and sixth innings, moments in this game that could have had major ramifications for sure. So in that first inning, you got the Newt single, which we talked about. Mason Wynn ends up whiffing, but makes the O starter Sagano throw 7 pitches when he does strike out. And it's always nice. You always know when Mason Wynn's not all that thrilled with what he did in and at bat. He's very vocal about what he says. Says the word fudge a lot, doesn't he? Ivan Herrera was next with a base hit to center field, making it first and third. Willie comes up next, brings in New with a base hit to make it 1-0. Burley follows with another single. And the boys are in business, man. They're cooking here. Bases are juiced. You got one out. Good at bats, simple base hits, nothing crazy, but very effective. But they're making the pitcher work. He's throwing a lot of pitches, and you got him on the ropes here. Bases loaded, 1 out. Nolan Arenado's coming up to the plate, and unfortunately, they could not tack on any more runs. And it's another part, and we've talked about this with Nolan Arenado before, and maybe this is just something that he's doing where he is trying to ambush a first pitch strike that he's hoping the pitcher's just trying to get it over the plate, right? Bases loaded, he wants to get ahead in the count. Nolan Arenado's trying to jump on that and take advantage of the fact that the ball's going to be in the zone. He's going to try to smack it somewhere good, right? But in this situation, the bases are loaded, and for me, I'm kind of like, make this dude throw a strike first before you have to swing at anything. Let's be patient. This pitcher's been working hard already. Bases are loaded. All the pressure's on him. And Arenado swings at the first pitch again. And he pops it up. An all too familiar scene with that pop-up on the infield. He's done it quite a few times this year in situations. And I know a lot of people online are a little fed up with seeing that happen over and over. So at the moment, I'm like, why is he swinging at this? Because in that situation, if the pitch is the absolute pitch you're looking for, if you know what that pitch is throwing and you see that pitch, you think he's going to come at you with a 4-seam fastball, which is the ideal one to swing at because it's not going to move as much. If you think he's coming with a 4-seam fastball and you hop on it and it's in the spot that you're looking for and you swing and then you just don't hit it well, the pitcher just happens to win there. Well, crap. So what? Like, you're like, okay. But in this situation, that spot, it's got to be perfect, right? Like that, I would think so. If I'm a hitter, you're keyholing one spot. That pitch has to be in that spot, or you are not going to attempt to swing at it. And the pitch that Nolan swung at was a sweeper that, granted, was in the zone, but it was low and away. Was that the pitch he was looking for? I highly doubt it. So that was a bit frustrating because you were really hoping the Cardinals could bust this thing open early on. Even a sac fly would have been fine there, but the pop-up on the infield is like, ugh. Funny thing is, though, because hey, when I'm wrong, and I'll admit it to you, but the home run that he hits later on is first pitch swinging again. And I remember they brought the stat up that he had only seen like 6 pitches in the game before that home run, I think. And first pitch swinging, slider in the zone, low and away. Very similar to the sweeper that he swung at in the first inning and popped up. But this time he puts a charge into it, knocks it over the wall instead. Basically served me a warm glass of shut the hell up. I'm Nolan Arenado. I'm a Hall of Famer. Let me go do my thing. All right. In the post game, this is one part where I will stick up for myself a little bit. Post game, he did say that on the home run that he hit, he was actually looking fastball. He was thinking the fastball was coming and the slider hung, and that's how he got a hold of it. So maybe he was reading fastball in that sweeper he saw in the first inning, got fooled. Either way, I would have liked to have seen more patience in the first inning. That's what I'm trying to say. With the bases loaded, a little more patience, but I will also take a big spoonful of crow on that one and on the home run ball, and I'll see myself out. Next sequence I want to go through is in the 6th inning. Baltimore just taking the lead in the 5th. Per usual, the Cardinals, they come right back. And that's what's one thing that's great about this team is like after that home run was hit and the boys fall behind 4-3, I'm not stressed. I even tweeted this. I was like, you got to just look at it as a 1-0 ball game. Can this team not score one run or more than one run to win a ball game? Of course they can. Of course they can. They've proven it over and over. So I wasn't stressed about it. It sucked. It wasn't like you're like, oh, yay, we got to come back again. But it was just like, all right, we've got a few innings here to work with. Let's get it back. Let's get it back. I mean, we're going to freak out about this. So they come right back, threatened with a leadoff double by Burley. Arenado flies to right field to move him over. So now you got a runner on third. Tying run. Gorman and Walker coming to the plate. Two of your young guys, the runway boys, right? And O's go to their very nasty left-handed pitcher, Gregory Soto, to face them. And certainly not an easy at bat for anybody. Gregory Soto's got some nasty stuff, whether it's a lefty, whether it's a righty. He's good. He's got some good stuff. I know the numbers look skewed, like he's got an ERA in the 4s and stuff, but I promise you, Gregory Soto is a pretty nasty pitcher. Ollie sticks with Gorman in this situation. You got no Donovan, who was out for precautionary reasons with the hip tightness. You got Pozo, you got Pajes, and you got Barrero left on the bench. Barrero can play second, and he ends up playing second later on in this game, but Ollie didn't want to burn him yet. And again, this is one of those situations where you want to see how these guys are going to perform in a big spot. This is what they want. They want to see Gorman and Walker take these at bats. You should too. You want to see if these guys are any good or are they not. You want to see what they do. You're not going to learn anything by pinch hitting for them in the 5th inning and pulling them from the game. You got to let them try. So Ollie lets Gorman hit, much to the chagrin of everybody online. Everybody is fired up the fact that Nolan Gorman's going to take this at bat. I get it. Because Soto against Gorman is not a good matchup. Like, good luck, Gorman, because this ain't going to be easy for you. And he goes up 2-0 in the at-bat and ends up striking out, swinging on the next 3 pitches. First 2 swings were check swings, back-to-back sliders. And then he throws another 3rd slider, and he's out. That brings in Walker. He sees the first pitch, called a strike at the bottom of the zone. It was a strike. But then he goes down swinging. Inning is over. And you're like, you wanted to see one or both of those guys come through in that situation because they are the guys that you think are going to be the future of this team. Of the 11 pitches that Gorman and Walker saw in those at-bats, 1 was in the strike zone. Only one. And that was that first pitch to Jordan Walker. There was a called strike. Everything else out of the zone. Most of them not really all that close. Again, young guys, tough reliever. They're anxious to do good things. They want to show everybody that they can do good things. They got aggressive. And the amount of tweets that I got condemning these 2 guys was hilarious, honestly, because people were fired up. Why is Gorman on this team? He's an anchor. He's terrible. He brings his team down. So JC would have been here and he would have got the hit and whatever. Yeah, I was laughing about it. I was like, oh my gosh, look how quickly they're turning on these guys. The Gorman at bat was very deflating because the fact that he was up 2-0 in the count, right? You know, he could have just stood there. Like if you go look at that, I wish I had the graphic for you. I would have put it up there for you, but it's on Twitter. I put it on there for you. But he could have just stood there and would have been walked easily. Like, you just did never have to take the bat off your shoulder. But 2 very crappy half swings on the slider. So Soto's not going to throw anything else. You're like, well, this guy can't hit the slider. Clearly, he can't read it. So let's do it to it again and see if he'll chase. And of course, he did. And then Walker's is just a tough at bat. Soto's good. Can Soto come to the Cardinals? Baltimore, what do you want for Gregory Soto? I'll take him right now. But these are the learning moments for Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker. These are the situations Ollie and the organization want to see them perform in. Whether they succeed, whether they fail, they want to see. They want to see what they got so that they can learn from the situations and become better players for this team moving on in the future. And what do you know? They have a chance to do just that later on in this game, despite not coming through in those 2 at-bats. And this was the great part about this. They didn't dwell on it. They didn't get down on themselves. They weren't sulking, walking around on the outfield or the dugout. Instead, they went to the plate with purpose, and they come up huge for you in the 8th inning with back-to-back triples after the Arenado dinger. And they help extend your lead. Much happier to have, the 3-run lead than just the 1 run on the Arenado home run. And they just smashed the ball for 2 triples back to back. Gorman, his first triple in his career, as I mentioned earlier. And that's exactly what you want to see from these guys. When something doesn't go their way, something doesn't go right, how will they react to it? Are they going to rise to the occasion, or are they going to crumble? And you saw both of them rise to the occasion this time around. You saw Jordan Walker recently in that game where against Arizona gets the big hit and then makes the bad play in right field, but then gets the big hit again. He doesn't, he's got to move on from things when they don't go your way. And it was awesome. The bench losing their minds for them after their triples. Like, did you see the footage of that? Like, that's all you need. You see that, and that's all you need to know about how these guys all feel about Gorman and Walker and how much of a team and a family that this group has become. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see. I love it. We're going to talk about Andre Pallante start next, because really one bad pitch made what was a decent night look much worse than the box score. So we'll get into that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Myself, John Frisch, 2 of your hosts tonight, and then Wednesday night, and then I won't be back till Monday. But we have a good time, man. We just kind of roll through each and every game, and we've got some doozies to talk about. NL Central, man. NL Central. Oh, wow. Looking at what Arizona and Pittsburgh are doing right now. Andre Pallante got the ball on Tuesday, and despite being given a 3-0 lead early, he was not able to hold on to it and left the game in the 6th inning down by a score of 4-3. The big moment was that 5th inning, right? 5th inning. It was just what a weird inning. A lot of goofy stuff happened in this inning. 1 out, gets a leadoff guy, but 1 out. Urias gets an infield single, little chopper that just kind of stuck to the line and hopped over the base, and it just a lucky soft contact hit, which is so annoying. Like the blue pits and those kind of infield hits, and they happen to Pallante a lot because his stuff moves so much. Sinker and everything. Like, it was just, that's a frustrating one to give up. You hate that. Then Pallante throws a wild pitch. All right, so now he's a little bit out of sync. Now Herrera tried to stab at it with just his glove instead of moving his whole body, which was horrible technique. But a wild pitch all the same. I mean, Urias might have moved up anyway, even if he blocked it. So there's 2 goofy things, right? Infield single, wild pitch. He then loses Gunnar Henderson on a walk. And then in the next at bat against Ryan Mountcastle, Pallante, and it looked like it just to kind of give you a visual in case you didn't see it. He's in the windup, looking to throw the pitch, and never releases the ball. And it almost looks like, when somebody would call like a late timeout against a pitcher, and instead of throwing it and just throwing it wherever, they hold on to it, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so dangerous to call a timeout that way." That's what this looked like. But nobody called the timeout. Pallante actually just kind of slipped, tried to deliver the ball, and he doesn't throw the ball. But that's illegal. You can't do that. That is a balk. So that moves runners up to second and third, ruins the double play opportunity. So he's clearly upset at himself after it, and probably a little embarrassed at the same time. I mean, who can blame him? That's not, the coolest thing to happen on the mound. But he comes back. Testicular fortitude to come back in that same at bat after that happens. And he punches out Mountcastle to get the second out. He's hype. He's all jacked up and he's ready to roll. He's like, all right. And then you're feeling like, oh, he's going to get out of this. And the very next pitch, he throws an absolute meatball, four-seam fastball to Rhino Hearn, who smokes it for a 3-run home run, makes it 4-3 Orioles. Now the rest of his line is not that bad. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 7 Ks, 3 walks. You don't want to see that, obviously. But it really, when it boils down to things, the Orioles weren't hitting him all that hard except for that pitch. And that's how quickly things can change. When people get on in stupid situations and walks, that stuff comes back to bite you, man. You just can't give teams, doesn't matter how bad their record is, you just can't give them extra opportunities. And that's what happened there. So pretty disheartening way things went. But Pallante comes back out in the next inning. And people were upset about that too. But, Ali was like, no. We got some good matchups still here. Ends up going to Steven Matz. Shout out to Matz, Maton, and Helsley, who come in following Pallante. And after the Cardinals regain the lead, 3 1/3 shutout innings, Matz gets the W. Maton gets the hold. Helsley gets his 11th save, but he did give up a single. So I finally had to go look this up. So in 19 appearances this year for Ryan Helsley, he has thrown 3 clean innings. 3. Which means he's either giving up a hit or a walk, or he's hitting a batter or something. Somebody, some way, a batter is getting on base is happening when Ryan Helsley is out there for the inning. 3 out of 19 appearances without allowing a base runner. That is kind of crazy. And that is bad for your closer. And it's no wonder, like, when we talk about it, like, oh, boy, Helsley stresses me out. That's why. Dudes, just get on. There were 2 outs, and he gives up a base hit. And I'm like, if he walks a dude, the tying run's coming to the plate. Like, I'm like, oh, gosh, thinking about all the scenarios. Luckily, he got the job done, and we didn't have to worry about it. But kind of a nutty stat, right? That many runners get on base against Ryan Helsley, considering the arsenal this dude has. Like, he's sick. 102 fastball, slider, big old 12-6 curveball. Either way, Cardinals win at 7-4. I don't know why we're dwelling on this. They win 7-4, moved to 31-24 on the season. Unfortunately, the Cubs walked off the Rockies in 11 innings, so no ground made there. They still trail them by 3 games in the Central. The Brewers walked off Boston in extra innings. The Reds beat the snot out of the Royals 7-2. And the Pirates were getting smoked by Arizona. It was 6-0 at one time. Everything was going Arizona's way. And that's why I'm looking over and laughing, because the Pirates have tied this game up 6-6. So there's a possibility every team in the NL Central wins tonight. Possibility. Looking for the series win in the series finale on Wednesday. Extremely rainy day expected in Baltimore, so we'll see if they even get a game in. Both teams are off on Thursday, so if they get washed on Wednesday, I'd expect them to try and make it up on Thursday. Pitching probables, Miles Michaelis for the Cardinals, been on a heater for a while now. It's pitched really, really good. Orioles will have Cade Pavich as their probable starter, left-hander, 25 years old. He's 1-3. 4.86 ERA in 9 starts. So some juicy numbers there, but some juicy numbers against Charlie Morton staring at them in Monday's game, and that didn't work out so well. So we'll see what happens, but we'll keep you posted online of any updates on what's going on with the rain and stuff. So thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. TikTok, Instagram, Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. We are now over the 12,200 threshold as we continue to push our way to lucky 13,000 subscribers. If you're somebody who enjoys this content, you enjoy St. Louis Cardinals baseball or just baseball in general, please hit subscribe and be a part of the family. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. And we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.